Well, good afternoon. It is the appointed time, and I will call the October 22nd meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority to order. And the first item of business is we have 2 new members to be sworn in, so I'll ask the city clerk to do that.
Councilman Hammond.
Okay.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jo Beth Hammond,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other valuable thing
any money or other valuable thing
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
And I further affirm
And I further affirm
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a trustee
as a trustee
of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority
of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations,
Thank
trustee.
you.
And next,
And
we
another
have the mayor's surrogate, Donna Cervantes. Yes. Raise your left hand. I state your name.
I, Donna Cervantes,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
and I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other valuable thing
any money or valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office
pertaining to my office
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
And I further swear
And I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as surrogate trustee of the mayor
as surrogate trustee of the mayor
to the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority
to the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to both of you. Happy to have you aboard. If there's anything that I, as a chairman, or David, as our staff person with the trust, can do, if you'd like a tour of the river or an update on something, be sure and ask, and we can get you filled in on that. Item 3 is items from the chairman, and I don't have anything today. Item 4 is the minutes of the September 24th meeting. Do we have any corrections or additions?
Move approval.
Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item 5 is a consent docket. We have an oil and gas revenue report and a river corridor events update. Any questions on either one of those?
Second.
Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item 6 are the primary agenda items. Item A is the Oklahoma River Maintenance Projects update. Jim, you got something for us?
Good afternoon, Chairman, trustees. Dredging in the sedimentation basin has been ongoing. The last report we got was they removed approximately 102,000 cubic yards of sediment out of the basin. They should be finishing up the money we'd allocated for the sediment basin dredging later this month. From August 3rd to August 30th, river maintenance crews received 13.4 tons of debris from the western basin and 2.5 tons of debris from the eastern basin. It was primarily floatables for both basins. On September 9th, the base plate for miter gate hydraulics at the Brum Dam pulled loose from its concrete mounting point. It took us about 30 days to get that replaced. It's all been repaired, and the gate's back in operation now. The repairs took longer because we had to fabricate a new base plate, and then there were some concrete repairs that had to be done to make the mounting point secure again. As we discussed earlier, we had sediment at the Meridian Landing. We finished those operations now and cleaning up that sediment. Originally, we were planning on keeping the water level in the Bay Basin down until around October 28th to finish up the dredging of the sedimentation basin. But we've about got that wrapped up, and so they're going to go ahead and start raising the water level up probably this week. Hopefully, we'll get some of the rains, and that'll aid in refilling the basin. That was all I have. Is there any questions?
Questions for Jim? I need a motion to receive that report.
So move.
Cast your vote. It's received. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. The other item on that is we're going to receive a report. Well, it's item B, receive the stormwater management report update on Brock Creek bank erosion.
Thank you. I'm Raymond Melton, the Environmental Protection Superintendent for the Stormwater Quality Division in Public Works. I'd like to make you aware of a project that we're about to start in the Oklahoma River Basin, and then talk a little bit about our Waterway Clean Sweep program. Jim mentioned the sedimentation that is currently being removed from the basin, and so this project hopefully will take care of some of that in the future. This is a 2007 bond project, and do I have a mouse? It was. There it is. There it is. Okay. This is a 2007 bond project with $1.4 million in the project budget. Project DC 275. The area of interest is a 2,700 linear foot between Western and Walker, south side of the Oklahoma River and north of Southwest 23rd. Funds will be used within this specific area along the channel for different projects. Project goals include using some traditional and alternative stabilization practices and techniques, and I'll talk about those here in just a second. Reduce the quantity of sedimentation and nutrients entering into the Oklahoma River. Improve the aesthetics value of this corridor along the Oklahoma River, and then protecting all the other assets along this channel. 2005, we started noticing a lot of, in Brock Creek, a lot of sedimentation and a lot of the sides of the bank there eroding. So a study was conducted. We conducted the study. We took 25 locations and measured cross sections from aerial images within the basin there. What we found was the upper part of the bank from 2004 to 2013 increased by 12 foot across. So that's a sign of we're losing sediment like crazy. The average width between the bottom of the channel increased by 13 feet. This is a picture that shows where the string bank is eroding the most. It's right here on the curved part. This is near our Walker wetland, we're looking southeast towards the west, towards Walker, near the bend. I think towards Western is what I meant to say. And then this is Brock Creek near our Walker wetland. This is just another example. This is looking east towards Walker. You may notice that the concrete pieces that have been used in there to stabilize the channel, some of those will be removed throughout this project for aesthetic reasons. And then the final picture is looking up the channel from the bridge that crosses over the Oklahoma River at this outfall at Brock Creek. Project overview, DC 275's project number will address two areas within the channel. The first area is the creek, the part of the creek that runs under Western Avenue, and we'll use riprap to stabilize those banks in that area. And then the major improvements on this slide you can see is the check box. That'll be the major part. That's where most of the money will go to stabilize these areas right here at the turn where we're seeing a lot of erosion. Project details, there was $1,490,831 in the 2000 bond for this project. Estimated engineering cost was $111,000. Construction cost is $1.3. Olson and Associates is our engineer. 90% of the plans had been submitted by September of this year. Final plans are expected in October or November. Anticipating the bidding to go out in 2020 in the spring, and construction should last 180 days. What we're going to do in this area is we're going to install some rock gabions, and I have some profiles to show you, but just so you get a close-up or a look of where we're going to be working. Rock gabions will be along the lower level of the banks. Then we'll have 2 levels of Propolex earth-filled bags that'll be on top of that. And then there will be turf reinforcement mats laid across the top part of the bank. And this will will allow vegetation to grow into this. We've done a lot of studies on the types of grasses. We're going to use, we have a range from grasses that will grow from 12 to 36 inches along the top of the bank there, so it should be really nice. In this profile, you'll see that the gabions is the lower part. Then the 2 earthen bags, filled bags, will be on top of those. And you can see that the water level is going to be above the top, above the gabion in the first bag, so that won't even be seen during normal flow. The top will be backfilled. You can see the backfill in there, the soil and geotextile mats will be laid on top of that, and they will be anchored into the ground for stability. The final stage of this design will be a 3-to-1 slope. Willow poles will be installed to establish the bank. The willows, when they're put in, will be in a dormant state, so we'll have to time this with the weather. But as they mature, they will create a large system of roots underground, adding stability to the bank. The other thing I want to talk to you about today is our Stormwater Quality Department or division is permitted by Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality, which includes 15 components. Floatables is one part of that, is one component of that. We have a new program, relatively new, that's called Waterway Clean Sweep. Our goal is for opportunities for groups to participate in this program. We've had groups from Dell, Boeing, ODEQ, and other city departments that will go out and do a collection with us. Our focus so far has been pretty much within the Oklahoma River Basin, but we have done a few parks outside of that basin. The way it works is we find a cleanup site. Sometimes the companies will have a site that they want us to go out and look at, so we'll investigate it and make sure it's safe and accessible. If not, then we'll suggest a site for them. We give them a safety meeting before each event, and along with some of our educational components from our program, give them a little background on stormwater quality. And we give them the supplies, the bags, safety vest, and the equipment to get the trash out of the creek or wherever they're at, and then we arrange for the disposal. So their responsibility is to put it into the bags and set it out where we can get to it. And we're with them during these, we're with the groups at this time. You can see floatable debris, as you probably know, is not just an Oklahoma City problem, it's a worldwide problem. And so this is along the Oklahoma River. We've installed debris barriers in 25 different locations. You can see them. I'm sure you've probably noticed them. This is a focus of our Waterway Clean program. So just a couple of stats is in 2018, we collected 7.1 million pounds of floatable debris throughout the city. You can see in this picture that a lot of that is white. So that's styrofoam cups, plastic bags, you name it, just cups and things like that. So stuff that's not very heavy. So we're 7.1 million pounds. Just we did a 4-year average from the debris collected within just the Oklahoma River Basin, and we average 579,000 pounds of debris a year. That's why we have this equipment out there, is to take care of that problem right there. Other city departments help in this program. Utilities Department has a street sweeping contract, so that helps us get the floatables out of the system, or keeps it from going into the system. Streets and Maintenance has an inlet and culvert roadway maintenance program. Our Oklahoma River maintenance program is run by Streets also, and Drainage, you saw a picture of that. Floatable Debris program is run by Stormwater Quality. We have 2 volunteer programs, Adopt a City Street program, and we have over 100 entities, agencies that participate in that. And that program is self-sustaining pretty much. We give them the supplies and stuff, but they take care of the training and that sort of stuff. So that's what we hope to move Waterway Clean Sweep, that program, into. You can see 2016, we had 1 event. 2017, 6 events. In 2018, we added this floatable program to our Leading for Results. And so our goal is to have 8 events. Last year we had 7. This year we've had 3 so far. We hope to have at least 2 to 3 more. The growth is purposely slow. I've decided that I don't want to see this. This program by itself could take over our whole program if we let it. So we've got 15 components. So we've got 14 other things that we need to, that my employees have to be aware of and take care of. This is some of the shirts that we pass out to our volunteers. Like I said, we train the groups. This is future plans. We'd like to get that to where we don't have to be there to supervise these cleanups. We'd like to recruit additional groups. In the future, we want to be flexible and have single events. We'd like to have groups adopt creeks and streams and stuff, just like we do our Adopt a City Street. Weekday events seem to work out best because I have my staff here. I don't have to pay them overtime, but that's not always the case for groups. But we've thought about also doing just setting aside certain weekends a year that we can send out a press release, get volunteers to register online, and just dedicate those weekends annually to the program so that they know when it's coming. The Nature Conservancy, this is just some pictures. You can see these guys worked hard that day. 50 volunteers, 1,109 pounds, and then Oklahoma City Community Foundation. You might recognize someone in this picture up to the right. 11 volunteers, 731 pounds that day. And I thank you for your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, I've got a couple. Go back to the second slide, the overhead of the project itself. There.
That one right there?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, sir.
Is there anything west of the Western Bridge that we need to worry about, or that's a future project, or?
I'm going to bring Derek Johnson, my environmental supervisor, one of my environmental supervisors, to come up and answer the technical questions, because I just do the presentations.
Yeah. And feel free to say I'll have to get back with you on that, but I was just curious.
We may have to get back.
There was a lot of erosion down west of the bridge.
Yeah, we looked at the full span initially, and then we looked at the scope of what the budget would actually cover. So we know there are some areas upstream of the Western Bridge that are in need of, some attention, but right now this seemed like the best place to spend the resources.
Okay, good. For the new members on there, if you look at that photo, the green area is the wetlands they were talking about, and we have several of those along the river that help not only control the water going into the river runoff, but the quality of it also, and that's just one of many. But also right there where the bend is, that kind of a white area, is some soccer fields that we recently acquired with a change of property with the Wheeler District. And typically the bends, the turns in these creeks are where they get the biggest erosion. So you can see where both the wetlands and the soccer fields would have been impacted at some point in time. So that's why it was important to get this done. Any other questions?
I would just like to say that when we were planting the 800 trees along there, there were numerous staff and different people that would go out there and see the debris down in those canals, and it was real eye-opening, and I applaud them when the staff decided to do a wellness initiative and to try to clean up some of it. The organization from your department was outstanding. I mean, it was one phone call, then it was followed up, then what time, and we did that, and it was 800 pounds of styrofoam cups. But, I think it makes a difference, and now I think we're just going to try to do it twice a year or so, just go in. And I think that the organization and the coordination that you did was outstanding because everybody felt good about it after it. So applaud you all for that.
I need a motion to receive that
So moved.
update. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item C is to receive a presentation on project MP 0545 Trail Wayfinding and Signage for the Oklahoma City Trail System.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Melinda McMillan Miller. I'm your Assistant Director for Parks and Recreation. I'm happy to present to you, this is probably my fourth presentation on this because there's so much interest and excitement in all of our trail system throughout the city for people to be able to find their way and navigate themselves towards attractions and amenities. So this project is, it's currently in the stage of final design and construction documents. And, okay, didn't work. There it goes. Maybe. I might have to ask you to advance that slide for me, please. It's just not wanting to work. No? There we go. Okay, thank you. So you'll see from the sign palette the markers that will be placed along the trails, but also for wayfinding for anyone that's on the street looking for the trail to go park their vehicle at a trailhead and disembark onto their bicycle onto the trails. You'll see the large gateway markers that are about 13, 14 feet tall that signal and hail that this is the location to come to the parks and to our linear parks and get on those trails and find your ways, whether you are a walker, a runner, or a cyclist, or pushing your children in their favorite stroller of the day. Also, on these signs that you'll see, you'll have lighting behind those letters so that you'll be able to be illuminated at night for increased visibility. All the materials have been selected are extremely durable. They are UV resistant, they're vandal resistant as much as we can make them vandal resistant, and also quite attractive for the natural environments where most of our trails go through. Identifiers, we chose very select colors. We chose a palette of greens and blues that will be easily identifiable as the trail wayfinding signage. You'll see the OKC Parks icon identifying those linear trails. Also, then when we wanted to look at the actual mile markers and pathway markers, we wanted to make sure they were as informative as possible. So all of the materials that we selected, they're interchangeable. You'll see on each of those graphics, they're two-sided, and the top portion of that graphic will include just different abilities to say, up ahead of you, directional arrow ahead, you'll find a local attraction, or a bus stop is located nearby, or a on-street bicycle facility. Another panel below it shows the actual trail you are on and the attractions along that specific trail. And within half-mile radius of that trail location of what attractions you would be able to find or access other amenities from that trail. The back side of that sign includes all of the trail safety that we encourage everyone to use, whether that's yielding to pedestrians, cycling staying to the right, or just other general safety measures that we want people to be aware of and cognizant of. The other last side of that panel is the overall recreational trails map that shows the entire region, and each trail is identified by its own trail color, and also then, of course, the mile marker of how many miles you've been on that trail and how much further you can go. What's also great about these graphics is that they are actually four pieces. They appear to be one, but they actually are 4 separate pieces. So as we add elements to the trails or we add amenities, as we add on-street bicycle facilities, it's very important that we can add those quickly to these signs. And because the material is not extremely expensive, it's very economical and affordable, we can interchange and swap out these signs and update them and keep them as fresh and relevant as possible. There's that larger graphic of our trail system, and it shows the completed Draper Trail and the soon-to-be-completed Greenway Trail and also the Deep Fork River Trail. Those are in the works, too. This just shows that mile marker. These mile markers are actually embedded in the ground, and so as you are cycling or running, you will actually go over the top of them and see those markers, and those markers are located every quarter mile. This shows you the materials that we've selected for the project. You'll see that we're using more aluminum versus Corten steel. Corten steel was actually the preferred material. However, Corten has a tendency to rust, and as that rust runs from the weathering down onto that stonework, we didn't want the stonework to become stained and unsightly. So we chose instead a painted aluminum, so it'll be painted to look like Corten steel. The sample that was left in my office, I couldn't believe it wasn't actual steel. All lettering and cross-hatching will all be done with brushed aluminum instead of painted aluminum, and it actually will be set as a relief, so it'll give it some 3-dimension. And then, of course, the limestone, stacked stone work along the bases of a lot of these signs and embedded in the ground as well for those mile markers. That high-pressure graphic laminate panel, that's that really economical choice for us to be able to interchange and change out all of the information as we get updates and improvements. And the color palette there, of course. Just as a reminder as well, the wayfinding package is funded from 2 different sources. Half of the existing recreational trails are funded from Better Streets, Safer City sales tax extension. The other half are funded from the 2017 GEO bond funds. And so this project is fully funded. It's expected to be about $3 million to design and build all of the trail amenities and signage, and then we are really fully expecting the City Council to receive that construction document and be able to put it out for bid to the public in January, with hopefully a full construction. We will construct these and install them, first starting with the Burt Cooper Trail at Lake Hefner and moving through the trail system from there. It probably will be a full 2-year to 3-year build-out. As we finish that Greenway Trail and that Deep Fork Trail, as those are being constructed, the signage will be put in place alongside them. Are there any questions about this project?
A question.
Yes, Ms. Donna.
Will this replace some of the existing signs? I've noticed a few that they're fading. Maybe they weren't this. Maybe you've decided we need a new material.
Yes, yes. These signs will replace all of the signage you can see along the river on both north and south side. This replaces all of the old signage that's faded or been damaged or whatever. And also at the Burt Cooper Trail out at Lake Hefner, these replace all of those signage as well. So now we'll have a fully consistent brand, a fully consistent look throughout the whole system so that trail users will find them easily identifiable and understandable and be able to feel more safe, secure navigating through the trail system.
I also wanted to ask on the map that shows, I love the one that shows amenities nearby. Does it tell you how far away they are?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Well, this is this map you're referring to, ma'am? This actually shows within a half-mile radius. So where my cursor is, if you can see it on your screens in front of you, my cursor is showing, so this is you are here arrow, basically. And within a half-mile radius of that arrow, it will show there's a bus line, bus stops they can use, or within the other areas around there, being that all of these will be graphically created within a 1-inch scale, so that the 1 mile away from where you are here, you can see how far from that 1 mile grid pattern of our street system. This is a graphic, of course, for the Katy Trail, going through the Adventure District, past Lincoln Clubhouse, and all of these points of interest being highlighted, and then a small, quick explanation if anyone's interested or curious about what amenities are present there. So So there'll be a lot of information on them. We understand that if you're going 20 miles an hour past these, you're probably not too concerned about the details. However, if you're a more leisurely stroll, you're out with your family, especially the littles, and you need to take a break, or you're trying to get from your neighborhood to the zoo on a bike versus being in a car, this gives you a lot of opportunities to use public transportation as well as your own transportation on the trail system.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Motion to receive that presentation? Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Thank you. Item D is to receive the quarterly schedule of cash receipts with the period ending September 30th. Do we have any questions on it? Any motion to receive that? Second. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item E is to receive an ordinance relating to regulations on alcoholic beverages on the City of Oklahoma City Park property, including the North Canadian River Corridor Recreation Area. This is some cleanup language. Go ahead.
You are correct,
Go ahead.
Chairman Mars. This is a cleanup ordinance, and it's an ordinance that has already been enacted by the City Council. It was prompted by new alcoholic beverage statutes enacted by the state legislature in 2016 and 2018. And the revisions are really very nominal as it regards the North Canadian River Corridor Recreation Area. It did eliminate references to Low Point beer, and it revised references for intoxicating beverages to alcoholic beverages. So merely part of a global cleanup for the municipal code.
Okay, this has already been adopted by the City Council. Is that correct? So we're simply receiving
It
this.
was adopted on October 8th.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion to receive? Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item F is to receive the Oklahoma City Community Foundation Charitable Organization Endowment Fund Report for the fiscal year ending June 30th. Report on our accounts that they have at that, and we received our yearly distribution on that also. Any questions? Motion to receive? Move the item. Second. Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item G is to recommend to the City Council approve a revocable permit with Putnam City Schools for the 12th Annual Putnam City Cancer Classic on November 9th, using the Wheeler Park, Community Foundation, River Trail. Any questions on it? Need a motion? Move the item. Second. Cast your vote. That motion is approved. 7A is a claims docket. A couple items on there. Any questions? Motion? Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. 8A1 is to receive the Park and Rec Director's report. Doug, you have anything other than what's written in here?
No, sir. Nothing else. Just want to obviously welcome the new trustees to the River Trust, and would recommend that you accept the report as written.
Okay. Point out a couple of things on it. There is the River Stakeholder Group scheduled for November 20th, 3 p.m. at the American Indian Cultural Center. That's a yearly report or yearly meeting we have with the stakeholders all along the river. It's pretty informative. If things that are happening and what they're proposing and so forth. And all of the trust is certainly invited to that. Talk to us something else. Anyway. Motion to receive that report? Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Comments by trustees? Any comments by citizens? Mike, you got anything you brought, or we have the report required by the agreement recently? You want to talk about that for just a second? It was distributed to the trustees. That should have been laying in front of you.
Okay.
Boathouse Foundation quarterly report.
Sure. Well, Mike Knopp with the Boathouse Foundation. First of all, I just wanted to say we had the 15th Oklahoma Regatta Festival just a couple of weeks ago, and it was a great success. A couple notable things. The Outdoor Foundation was in attendance and kicked off the 3-year Thrive Outside initiative with all of our community partners, and they said we really have become the model for the 3 other cities, which is good, so they're very, very happy. And had over 45 teams in attendance and tremendous feedback from everyone. We appreciate all the efforts, as usual, from the river cleanup initiatives. That's always an issue when you have literally, if you've ever been down there during the regatta to see all the boats on the water, literally just dozens and dozens of boats, and so a piece of debris can cause trouble. So a couple notes on that too. REI, the new, of course, sporting goods company store opening in November, they did their first big community activity, which was a cleanup post-regatta in the Boathouse District, as did the new Outdoor Foundation from the YMCA, which is formed through the Thrive initiative. So I think we're going to join forces on the river cleanup effort, so I think that is going well. As far as attendance is concerned, the total rafting attendance this year was 21% up over last year at 41,753. And then the visitors this year so far is about 274,000 people have come through the Boathouse District. Have a lot of programs, events, attractions that contribute to that number. In the report, it also indicates what I kind of referenced, the community service initiatives from our Thrive initiatives that have already been in place, with all of the camp programs with disadvantaged youth, to our first responders program, to our partnership with OCU. They actually hosted an esports event in the Devon Boathouse, which was very interesting. We moved all the boats out, and while there was rowing going on at the river, there was video game competition going on in the boathouse. So it is the way of the future. So the U.S. Olympic Committee was in attendance to not only be part of the regatta, but to pay attention to the esports activities. So, and we really see a role for us from a standpoint of, we've always focused on innovation. That's been a niche area for the boathouse, for the river sport. First city in the world, or the first river in the world to have night racing. We've introduced new technology and things like that. So they see us as potentially the center for sports innovation using AR, VR, other technologies. Our facilities certainly look the part with the very modern architecture, and so we're going to continue to explore that, but we want to be on the front end of this because it is a very important thing. So while we are talking about getting kids outside and away from the screen, we did have a screen event in the boathouse, but it's all about balance, and we got to embrace that, I think, and show ways that kids can get outside and also do what they like to do inside. So that went on, and then as far as customer satisfaction, we do surveying of all of our customers, things that they like to see in the Boathouse District, things, their overall experience that they had, and so we're very pleased. It's an 86.6 overall positive experience. Industry standard in the theme park industry is 70%, so we are feeling pretty good about the direction we're going right now. And then on the rental and pass sales side of things, we are, as far as season pass sales, we're at a little over 2,800, which is 85% increase over last year. Kind of a different way of how we're handling that, trying to really inspire more season pass purchases. We feel good, especially with new development for next year, which is critical to boosting the pass sales as we had always planned. So adding some of the new attractions will certainly help with that. And then the overall pass sales is up 16%. So things are going steadily upward, which we're happy about, and going to kind of continue the forward momentum. And, we have to be creative considering the seasonality of the operation. So if you go down there this month, be prepared for the River Scream event, which is another, again, Halloween-oriented activity that should just drive people into the venue, along with all of our programs and other things that will go on throughout the rest of the year and over the winter. And I do want to mention, Chairman Mars, that we, as you know, being involved in the Boathouse Foundation, one of our issues is the water turbidity in the Whitewater Center. We do feel like that has played a part in terms of just the overall attendance, and we're going to really try to attack that even more. It's a really labor-intensive effort, but we will be fully draining the Whitewater Center this year and doing all we can to address those point sources of area where debris gets in. It's just challenging with our Oklahoma red dirt and dust, but we're going to really attack it over the winter, and then once again try with a solution, with another filtration solution, which will be something we will bring to you later on. So with that, is there any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Any other citizens to be heard? On your agenda, you saw Jeff Steele with the Crystal Lake Archery Club had wanted to speak, and I'll give you just a short background because we may hear it again. He was running archery out there with the lease that the City Care had and was working under their lease. When they pulled out, he would like to continue doing that. Kathy's use committee got a report from staff recommending some changes be made if that was going to happen as a separate entity out there, and some fencing and some other things. Jeff indicated after receiving that information that he didn't have the resources to make that happen and was requesting that we not make him do that, and was going to come today and explain why, and he's not here today. What I'll suggest is, Doug, if he gets in touch with you after this meeting and would still like for the trust to hear his side of the story, I would recommend that he actually go in front of Kathy's use committee again with your staff person and him, and let her committee make another recommendation forward after hearing both sides of it.
Yes, sir, we'll be happy to facilitate that, and I'll have David reach out to him and set that up.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments? We are adjourned.